Every day, we lie to ourselves. We stay in relationships that make us unhappy and stick with jobs we hate. We tell ourselves we're fine when we're not. These moments might be signs of a deeper issue, and Jean-Paul Sartre called it bad faith. It's actually a form of self-deception and inauthentic living. But now is the time to confront the lies we have been telling ourselves. Sartre used the term bad faith to describe how we lie to ourselves to dodge uncomfortable truths. It's about living in a way that isn't true to who we are and denying what we really want and can do. Imagine waking up every morning dreading work. You hate the office culture, but you stay because it's stable and pays the bills. Every day, you put up a front to fit in, pretending to be someone you're not, just to blend in. Deep down, you know this isn't the real you. It's a version made to meet others' expectations. But bad faith isn't just a work thing. Think about your relationships. You might have stayed or are currently in a relationship that's not fulfilling because it's easier than being alone, or because you're afraid of hurting the other person. You act like everything is fine, but deep down, you know it's not. You go through the motions, keeping up appearances, while ignoring how unhappy you really are. According to Sartre, all these behaviors are forms of bad faith. We tell ourselves little lies to avoid facing the reality of our freedom and responsibility. We convince ourselves that we have no choice but to keep living this way, even when we know it's not true. By living in bad faith, we deny our own freedom and potential for authenticity. We trap ourselves in roles and stories that don't reflect who we truly are, just to avoid the discomfort of facing the truth. So yeah, you could say that you're willingly turning yourself into an NPC. Now that we sort of know what bad faith is, let's dig into how it works. Sartre describes bad faith on two levels: denying your transcendence and denying your facticity. But what do these fancy words even mean? First, let's talk about denying your transcendence. Transcendence is our ability to change and go beyond our current situation. Sartre believed that we are defined by our potential to change and reinvent ourselves. In Existentialism is Humanism, he said, man is nothing else but what he makes of himself. This means we aren't born with a set purpose. We create who we are through our actions and choices. So even though you might feel cooked, there's hope. Let's again use the example of having a job you hate and talk about someone who thinks that they're stuck in their job forever. They tell themselves, I have no other skills, or it's too late to start over. But by doing this, they deny their potential to grow and change. They convince themselves they can't transform their life, even though deep down they know it's not true. It's like being in a room with an open door, but telling yourself you can't leave. The freedom to walk out is there, but you convince yourself otherwise, trapping yourself in a situation that doesn't reflect your true desires. Now, let's talk about denying facticity. Facticity is about the concrete details of our situation, our past, circumstances, and physical limitations. Take someone who wants to get healthier. They dream about being a fit mega chad, but ignore that it requires regular exercise and a balanced diet. They might buy gym equipment or sign up for a gym membership, but rarely use it. They fantasize about the result, but avoid acknowledging the effort and consistency required to achieve it. By denying facticity, we overlook the real, tangible aspects of our lives that we need to deal with to reach our goals. But it's not about dismissing your dreams, it's about facing the reality that making those dreams come true involves concrete, hard steps. Sartre believed that denying both transcendence and facticity are ways we escape from our freedom and responsibility. We tell ourselves stories that limit us, either by saying we can't change or by ignoring the reality of our situation. Recognizing these patterns of denial is crucial, as it leads us to the next question: why do we fall into bad faith in the first place? Hey, before I continue exposing you, consider subscribing. It helps me stay motivated to keep making videos. Think about a time when you felt really uneasy, knowing you weren't being true to yourself. This feeling is more common than you might think, and it's caused by different psychological and social pressures. First, there's the fear of freedom. Sartre, in Being and Nothingness, said, "Man is condemned to be free, because once thrown into the world, he is responsible for everything he does." Think about a big life decision you had to make, like choosing a career, moving to a new city, or ending a long-term relationship. The endless possibilities can be overwhelming. With freedom comes the responsibility of our choices. For example, imagine someone who has always dreamed of pursuing their passion for music, but instead spends their free time watching reels, shorts, or TikTok because starting a new hobby feels daunting. They tell themselves it's just a way to relax, but really, they're avoiding the fear of putting themselves out there and possibly failing. Then there's societal pressure. Sartre in Existentialism is a Humanism noted, "We only become what we are by the radical and deep-seated refusal of that which others have made of us." Imagine a young person passionate about art, but their family pushes for a safer career in law or medicine. Society has strong opinions on what success looks like: stable jobs, financial security, a certain lifestyle. This pressure can make us conform, even if it means sidelining our true interests and passions. We take on roles and behaviors that fit societal expectations rather than being our authentic selves because we think that's what we're supposed to do. Avoiding responsibility is another reason. Think about a time when you blamed external factors for not doing something. Maybe you wanted to learn a new skill or start a fitness routine, but kept making excuses like, "I'm too busy" or "the timing isn't right." But somehow, you still managed to binge watch a bunch of YouTube. Crazy how these things work. By blaming other things, we avoid the uncomfortable truth that we're not taking control of our own lives. It's easier to feel powerless than to admit we are holding ourselves back. Think about the fear of judgment. Sartre, in No Exit, famously said, "Hell is other people," meaning we let others' opinions control how we see ourselves. Remember high school, trying to fit in with a certain group, even if it meant hiding your real interest? This fear of not being accepted or being criticized can make us hide our true selves. We change our behavior to get approval, giving up authenticity for the comfort of being liked and accepted. Lastly, there's the comfort of routine. Sartre believed that while routine can offer security, it can also be a form of bad faith if it stops us from chasing our true desires. Imagine someone who sticks to a predictable daily schedule, never stepping out of their comfort zone. Routine feels safe and familiar, but it can also be a trap. Breaking away from routine takes effort and can be unsettling, so we often choose to stay in our safe, predictable patterns, even if they don't truly make us happy. These intertwined forces, the fear of freedom, societal pressures, avoidance of responsibility, fear of judgment, and comfort in routine, are powerful drivers of bad faith. They create barriers around our authenticity, making it tough to live true to ourselves. Living in bad faith might help you dodge discomfort for a while, but it comes at a big cost. You become an actor in your own life, playing a role that really isn't you, day after day. Over time, this act wears you down. You start feeling a deep emptiness and lack of fulfillment, like there's a hollow space where your true self should be. Sartre believed that this disconnect from our true selves leads to existential angst, a constant sense of anxiety and despair. Sartre also described existential angst as a profound discomfort with our own existence when we realize our lives aren't authentic. It's like being out of sync with your own existence, trapped in a routine that doesn't match who you are. Once again, think about your personal relationships. Imagine being in a relationship where you can't express your true feelings or desires because you're afraid of being judged or rejected. You might smile and nod, but inside you feel a growing distance. These shallow interactions prevent real intimacy and connection. Over time, relationships built on inauthenticity become fragile and unsatisfying, leaving you feeling isolated when you're not alone. Bad faith also messes with our sense of purpose and direction. Imagine working tirelessly to climb the corporate ladder, only to find yourself at the top, looking around and wondering why you still feel empty. You follow the path society laid out for you, achieve conventional success, but your true passions were left behind. Understanding the consequences of bad faith is crucial. It's a wake-up call that shows why it's so important to live authentically. The first step to overcoming bad faith is self-awareness. We need to be honest with ourselves and recognize the ways we're living inauthentically. This means looking at our daily routines, relationships, and career choices. Are we making these choices based on our true desires, or are we just conforming to societal expectations and avoiding discomfort? Sartre emphasized the importance of taking responsibility for our actions. He believed that we are always free to make choices, even in situations that seem restrictive. This freedom can be scary, but it is also empowering. By accepting responsibility for our lives, we take back our power. Instead of blaming people or circumstances, we see that we have the power to shape our own destiny. One practical way to start living authentically is to align our actions with our values. This means figuring out what really matters to us beyond societal pressures and external validation. For example, if creativity is a core value, we might choose to pursue a career or hobby that allows us to express ourselves artistically, even if it means taking risks or facing uncertainty. Sartre also believed in the idea of authentic freedom. This means making choices that are true to ourselves, rather than choices influenced by fear or the desire to conform. To practice authentic freedom, we need to challenge the narratives we've internalized about what we should do. This might mean questioning long-held beliefs and stepping out of our comfort zones to explore new possibilities. Another key aspect of overcoming bad faith is embracing existential responsibility. Sartre argued that we are responsible not just for our actions, but also for the person we become. This means continuously reflecting on our choices and being willing to change course if we realize we're not living authentically. It's about being proactive in shaping our lives, rather than passively accepting a predetermined path. Living authentically involves a constant vigilance and a commitment to self-discovery. It's about embracing the freedom to make our own choices and the responsibility that comes with it. By doing so, we can break free from the constraints of bad faith and live a life that truly reflects who we are. Hey, please check out my other video. It explores why Nietzsche thinks God is absolutely cooked.